Well, welcome everyone. Happy New Year. I am Kathy Borders. I am in provider relations here at Butler County. We are thankful that you are here today for our first provider meeting of 2025. It is hard to believe a new year is here. We also have Amy Winkler with us today from Provider Relations.
Hey everyone, glad you could join us and Happy New Year.
She will be helping us out in our chat. We use our chat. We welcome questions and comments during our meeting. We would love to have you post there if you have a question. You're also welcome. We'll have some time for questions. You can unmute and ask questions a little bit later in our meeting. We would love to hear from you, or feel free, like I said, to use that chat throughout the meeting, whatever works best for you. If we can't get to your questions in the chat, we will definitely reach out to you and get those answers for you soon. So I am going to start today with a lot of provider updates and training opportunities. Of course, with the new year, that means a lot of potential changes and just new things launching for the year. So going to work through this presentation here and share that with you. So first up, we wanted to let you know that there were some waiver amendments that went into effect on January 1st. There is a new service called a healthcare assessment. There was also special rates added to the non-medical transportation service. This new rate is for competitive integrative employment. We're going to talk about that a little bit more on the next slide. So I'll skip over that. There's also the environmental accessibility adaptations. That service was updated. So you can find details about all of these changes more in detail at the link here. We will also be emailing you these really nice one-pagers that DODD has created about these changes. So we'll email those today out with our minutes for you to look at. And then feel free to reach out to us here if you have questions after reviewing those. So the non-medical transportation new special rate we mentioned, that went into effect on January 1st. This is for competitive and integrated employment only. So with that, there is a unique billing code, and it is based on how far the trip is from the starting point to the person's employer. And so if this is something that you are providing right now under just regular non-medical transportation, it is something to talk to the SSA about to see if what you're doing might qualify for this new special rate and if the budget would allow for that. There are additional service delivery documentation requirements for this service. We've attached or linked the rule here. We also will be sending in our minutes today a new template for that we have created that includes those additional requirements if you're going to be providing that service. The rates here are just for your reference. As you can see, there's quite a bit of difference based on vehicle type and mileage. Speaking of documentation, there were some changes made to transportation documentation requirements. So both transportation rules were amended, and they went into effect January 2nd. So currently in effect, so any transportation you are providing right now would need to be documented with the new changes. So there were elements that were added and taken away for both HPC transportation and non-medical. So for non-medical transportation, you now need to document your origination and destination points on your documentation sheet. The NMT for competitive integrative employment, that new special rate, the additional, besides the origination and destination point, you also have to include the name and address of the employer. For HPC transportation, this is kind of a big one. Want to make sure you hear this, see this, remember this. They now are requiring odometer readings for HPC transportation. Also, you are asked to list any names of individuals that are in the vehicle. So this is individuals receiving services, not just staff or other people in the car. One great thing though is they removed their requirement to have description or details that relate the services to the ISP. So that part is removed. So you no longer have to do that piece. I'll pause here. Are there any questions?
Yes, I would like to know where can I get those documents for the transportation, the new document transportation.
Yeah, so DODD has not published their own templates yet. So we here at Butler have created those for you. We will include those in our meeting minutes. If at any time you need them, feel free to reach out to us. They will also be posted to our website in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for asking.
And I'm sorry, the origination, is that like from the actual home? Is that
Yeah.
okay?
Yes, wherever the trip starts. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And this would be origination with the person in the car. So you would start that from when that service actually starts, which the individual has to be there for the service to be taking place. Great questions. Anybody else? All right. So brand new year. So that means the annual MUI analysis is due. This is going to be due to the county board where you're providing services by February 28th for both agency and independent providers. That is to be completed by the end of January, and then you have the entire month of February to get that sent into the county board. And this is all according to the current MUI rule that is in effect. Our email address is here. If you have your review and want to send that to us, you're also welcome to send it to Amy Winkler directly.
Yes, I will need that too. Thank you.
The form. Okay, yeah, we're going to send that
Yeah.
out today, as well as an example of how it is to be completed. And just a reminder, this is completed even if you had no MUIs for the year.
So what should I put if there's no MUI I should report? Like I need to put like there's no MUI or what?
Yeah, you'll be putting a 0. We'll have an example in the meeting minutes. We included an example of one with 0 MUIs. So just use
Okay.
that as your template and you'll be great. And we always help you if you send it in and there's mistakes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right. So most of you are familiar now with the Ohio ISP. This is the new ISP format that went into effect probably a couple of years ago now. Time really flies. So DODD is now asking for feedback now that we've been in it for a while. They would love to know your thoughts, ideas, and suggestions on ways to improve it for the template itself and the process. So it's awesome that they are looking for feedback on that. So great opportunity for you as providers to share your experiences with them. There are 2 ways to share your input. There is a survey. It takes about 20 minutes to complete. The link is here. You'll have it in your meeting minutes. They're also holding several in-person feedback sessions. Unfortunately for us, the closest one for us is in Dayton. They're not coming all the way south. So that one is going to be on February 18th. There's 2 different sessions on the 18th for that one if you wanted to go in person. And the link to sign up for that is here. Wanted to remind you that your 1099 address information needs to be current. So if you had any moves, your address changed in 2024, and you did not update your address in the system, you would want to be doing that as soon as possible because your 1099 will be mailed out very shortly for your tax year 2024. These are mailed out, and then if they're undeliverable, they'll be returned, and you would not be able to receive that, be delayed. So make sure you are updating it in PNM and then also in Ohio Pays. You want to update it in both places. And just as a general reminder, always make sure you're keeping your address and your contact information updated on a regular basis. Your email is how DODD primarily communicates with providers. So that, of course, is very important, but then also your address for your taxes is important too. DODD issued a couple of reminders recently in their communication, so we just wanted to pass those along to you. They have created a new provider-owned controlled decision tree to assist with determining whether a residential setting is allowed. And so the link is here. They wanted to have providers reminded that it's prohibited for providers to serve as a landlord for an individual they provide services to, and that also providers should not be paying a portion of an individual's rent or co-rent with the person they provide services to. So just a couple reminders about that. Nothing has changed. They just wanted to make sure you were up to date with that. Their other reminders are related to medication administration. The first certification requirements for DSPs to be administering medications, they need to be at least 18 years old, have a high school diploma. So they may be able to work with you without that high school diploma, but if they're going to be administering medications, they have to have that high school diploma or GED certificate, and then be able to read, write, and understand English. The training details for MedAdmin certification are outlined within the MedAdmin rule. And they recommend, rather than accepting someone's certificate, their MedAdmin certificate, that you need to actually look it up in the system, which is found on DODD's website, and the link is here for you. That's the best place to look to verify that the MedAdmin is current. To go along with that reminder, they also wanted to remind you about the family delegation rule. So family members living with the person they are providing, I'm sorry, just living with a person, they do not need medication administration. And then if they are serving as an independent provider or agency provider and also living with the person, they do not need medication administration certification. So basically, if family members are living with individuals and they're in the same household and related, they do not need MedAdmin certification. If family members are not living with the person receiving services, then the family member must have MedAdmin certification as an independent provider or agency provider. And then family members who live with the person may authorize independent providers to administer medications without medication administration certification, but this does not apply to agency providers. So this means an independent provider who doesn't live in the home could be administering medication without certification, as long as there is a family member that does live in that home and is delegating that to that independent provider. Kind of confusing a lot of rules with that. So feel free always to reach out to us if you have questions about that.
I have a question. Would there be a document when the person who lives in the house wants to delegate to an independent provider or an agency staff? Would there be some documentation on the part of the person living in the home? Sign.
So that.
Mm-hmm. How should the format be, the delegation? Or should it be in a paper form or just by word of mouth?
Oh, the training, the family delegation. There is and that may vary by county. I know that our county has, I have seen a family delegation form. That is something to talk with the SSA about. As far as documenting medication, so a provider, even if they have been delegated to provide medication, or if they're that family member giving medication, they still need to be documenting in some way that they are administering medication. It just does not have to be as formal as a MAR. They would perhaps document it as a support they're providing on their service delivery documentation form. I don't know if that answers your questions.
Yes.
Perfect, thank you. DODD just announced their first session of their 2025 provider certification office hours. This first session is going to be for independent providers. They are going to be giving general information, going over how to complete a renewal certification application, and also doing a supplemental application and adding on services application. That's going to be January 16th. It's virtual. There's 2 time slots, so you can register with this link. It's a great one. There will be more office hours coming in the future, and we'll announce those as we get information about them.
Is it like online or is it in person?
It is online.
Oh, okay. So can you send that too, please?
Yes. Yep, we will do that.
Okay. Thank
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, so EVV, or electronic visit verification. I just wanted to spend a minute on this. So EVV is required for all providers of HPC, PDHPC, residential respite, and waiver nursing. So all providers doing any of those services need to be using EVV. We know not all providers are currently using it. There have been issues with the system. There was a new launch of a different platform last year that caused a lot of problems, but a lot of all of that has been worked out. Everyone needs to be now using that, because at some point in the future, we are being told that billing claims may be or will be denied if they do not match EVV submissions. Claim validation, which is what that is starting for home health services. So that's not DODD services, on March 1st of this year. So we, will be later on. Will be, I don't know if next or if there'll be someone else before us, but it will be coming perhaps even later this year. So what this means is if you are not using EVV and you submit billing claims, those claims would not be paid because your EVV did not match. So we just want to emphasize how important this is to begin using. So if you have not done this or are not using it, use this next month or so to get set up and be using it. Reach out to us for help or questions. To help you prepare for this, Sandata, they are the company that runs EVV or manages it. They are offering daily office hours to help providers prepare. So you can register for a Zoom session with them any day. We can also provide you with their direct phone number to reach out to them for assistance. We do have some guides and helpful documents for you as well. We definitely want to help all providers get in the system and using it. Any questions for us?
The EVV is the login and logout. Is that what is it
Yes.
for?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So that means we need to install it in our phone. So every time we go to work, we need to log into EVV.
Yes. If you're providing any of the services listed here, HPC and the others there, yes, you definitely need to be using it.
Okay. All right, thank you. That's the link over there, right? To install the EVV.
This link is actually to go to a office hour for help from the company that manages that. We can send you reach out to us if you need help, and we can send you some instructions on how to complete the steps.
Okay, all right, that sounds good.
To go along with the previous slide regarding EVV, there are some of you that may be exempt from having to use EVV if you're providing those services, but you live with the person you're providing services for. That's called a live-in caregiver exemption. You have to apply for it. It is not automatic. There's a form that you fill out. We can provide that to you if you don't have it. If you've already submitted it and you've been waiting for that approval to come, there had been a technical issue that was preventing them from being able to process them. They have now fixed that, and they have begun processing those requests. So you should be getting, hopefully sooner than later, a notification by email that you are approved. You will want to save that email, perhaps print it out and save it with your other provider documents that you have been exempted for using EVV. You want to continue using EVV though until you receive that email notification. Any questions for us? Okay, great. A few more things. I told you we had a lot. I'm so sorry. This is a information overload, but the great news is we're going to give you all this information so you can go back and review it later. DODD just launched a cross-system behavioral health webpage. It's been updated. There is information there available about the programs they support, which include behavior supports, multi-system youth, trauma-informed care, the wellness project, and much more. So we just wanted to make you aware of that resource. One last reminder for you about BritCo. A couple months back, I think it was October, we launched access for providers in BritCo. So all providers that have been serving individuals in our county have been given access. Unless you are an agency, you can only get access by completing our survey. And we will get that dropped in the chat and included in our meeting minutes. One last time for you, independent providers have been automatically registered in the system. To be able to use that, there are instructions for logging in that first time if you haven't already done so. By using BritCo, it's an optional resource to you, but you can view the Ohio ISPs at any time by logging in and having that account set up. There are also some reports available. And then if you are an agency contracted with us for local funding, you also are completing your local billing there. That began on January 1st. Another cool feature for those of you that have BritCo Pro, which we actually have BritCo here with us today. We're going to hear from them in just a few minutes. He'll be able to tell you more about this, but BritCo Pro users can also download outcomes by logging into our system. There is a webinar, so switching over to training opportunities, just have a few training opportunities to share with you. There is a medication administration responsibilities webinar tomorrow at 1 o'clock. So this is a great one for learning more about that, all the ins and outs about medication errors and responsibilities. And there are 2 hours of DODD CEU credits available for that. So encourage you to attend that if you're available. The Office of Compliance training series for 2025 begins at the end of this month on January 30th. They are going to kick off the year with rule reminders and compliance resources, and this is for all providers, agency, and independents. The great thing about this training series is that they can be counted toward the annual 8-hour training requirement that providers have. So you can register with this link here. Here in Butler County, we are still offering our in-person provider office hours. It's been great to have providers come in a couple times a month. It's always great to put faces with names. So we love having you join us. Everyone is welcome to come when you're available. They're in person at our Janet Clemens Center. You do not need to register. In 2025, each month, we're going to have a documentation and compliance session. And then also once a month, we are going to have a kind of open-ended Q&A session. We will have an MUI representative with us as well. And those will each be held once a month. So great opportunity for you to come in and get some one-on-one help. We have our schedule for the whole year posted on our website, and also with all of our provider communication, it's linked usually at the bottom, but we will send out the actual full schedule in our meeting minutes as well. The SWOCOG just announced a upcoming training on understanding sexuality. That is going to be held virtually on January 29th. It's an awesome way to come and learn how to support the individuals you're working with. There are going to be 2 CPDUs available for that. There's a registration link, and if you have questions, you would contact Robin Thomas with the SWOCOG. Another training coming up is charting the life course side by side. It's a really cool opportunity for day program providers. So it's going to be virtually held. It's a side-by-side training for the staff and the people that they're serving. So there's going to be an overview and implementation of charting the life course tools. They are recommending groups of 1 to 2 staff with up to 4 people that they're supporting attend that webinar or that training. There's 4 sessions scheduled right now, listed here, and you can register at the link here. DSP Magnet Academy is offering a virtual frontline supervisor coaching workshop. There's 2 of them scheduled so far. It's a great opportunity to learn together, brainstorm, and get real-world tools and develop leadership skills to make your job easier and save time. Sounds like a really great one. Fun, interactive workshop available for you. 2 dates there in January. This is our last training update for you. Thanks for bearing with us and hanging with us. So just, we mentioned this in our last meeting, just wanted to point it out one last time for you, that the OSU Neisinger Center is offering in-person clinical support services. Those include behavioral mental health assessments, consultations, trainings. They also offer crisis prevention and support training for providers and DSPs and even family members. Those are typically in Columbus, but there is information on their website. By contacting them, they may be able to arrange something different. So feel free to check that out on their website. So that is all of our updates and training opportunities. That was a ton. Are there any questions for us that we haven't got to in the chat?
Think so. Someone had just asked if the trainings were free, and I believe the majority of them are. There may be 1 or 2 that I'm looking at that may have a small fee, and if so, they would be listed in the links that Kathy has there.
Yeah, perfect.
How do we get all those websites in order to register for those classes?
Yeah, so in the email you're going to receive later this afternoon, so watch for it to come from us. It'll come from Butler County Provider Relations. This PowerPoint that you've seen today will become as a PDF, and the PDF will have clickable links. You can actually click in the links by opening up the PDF, going to those pages, those slides, and you can click right on them. We also provide a typed out kind of Word document. It will be formatted in PDF, and it will also be in that document as well. So it'll be in 2 places. If there are handouts for any of those flyers, we're going to attach them to the email. I believe a couple of those do have an actual flyer for them. All right, well, if you think of anything else and you forgot to ask, feel free to pop it in the chat or get a hold of Amy or I anytime after this meeting or whenever works best for you. I am excited now to turn the time over to Scott Flowers, who is here with us today, joining us from Britco to teach us more about that system and share the exciting opportunity that it is.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kathy. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. Thanks a lot, Kathy. I appreciate that. I appreciate your information too. It's very helpful. So can you see the screen okay, or did I not share it yet? Because sometimes I
we
forget.
can see it. Looks
Okay,
great.
it's the Britco logo. I just want to make sure I have my right screen there.
It says the fusion of county boards and
Okay,
providers.
perfect. Thanks. Well, welcome everybody. I want to take this time to first thank Kathy for the opportunity. My objective, just so you know what we're going to try to cover, 3 topics. 1, I'm going to show you what this Britco portal looks like if you haven't yet used it. And if you have used it, you might find some more information I can pass along to you about how to access it and why you might want to access it, how you might want to use it. The second topic is the Britco Pro platform. I'm just going to give you a very brief overview of what it can do and how it can integrate with the county board. And the third piece I want to talk about is specifically EVV, and even more specifically, a little bit about independent providers in EVV. We have an initiative going on that I think you'll be interested in. So given that, let's talk a little bit about this portal and what is it and how does it work. there are 4 different BRIC codes, and we have a lot of confusion over this, so we want to clarify language here. BRIC code, the word BRIC code is normally what we use to describe the county board system. So Butler County, Hamilton County, I think 76 counties are using BRITCO for their platform for doing case noting and billing and so forth. All right, so the BRITCO portal is what you would use as a provider to log into a county board to get some information from the county system. And I have a little snapshot here of a few options you might see. Now, from county to county, for those of you that are serving in multiple counties, you might see different options on the screen when you log into their portal. Now, keep in mind, each county has its own URL, its own website address. So you might have one for Butler. If Hamilton is another one you might tap into, you would have a different website address for that, etc. These options on the left might be slightly different from county to county. Just be aware of that. All right. And then there's the BRITCO Pro, which is the new BRITCO provider platform, which I'm going to give you an overview demonstration of some of its features. And then there is also, what is BRITCO Legacy? That is the BRITCO provider platform that we've had for a number of years that is a lot of providers on this call might actually be using this legacy system. And as it says on the screen, we are migrating everyone from the legacy to the pro system. So when I show you what the pro looks like, if you're using legacy, you will eventually be moved over to this new system. Okay, so let me give you a quick overview. And I'm going to make this an overview. This is not going to be a complete demonstration because I want to keep it brief. So bear with me because I'm going to hit the 5,000-foot view of things. And if you want to see anything in more depth, by all means, reach out to me. We can arrange a one-on-one. So that way I can keep it at a high level here. Why in the heck would you use BRITCO Pro? What's it used for? Well, you can use time and attendance. You can do it. You can have your Medicaid billing created. You can use it for your EVV and not have to use SAN data. You can use it for documenting all of your documentation to be compliant with the state. Your transportation, NMT, HPC transportation, write incident reports. You can do all of your staff training with it and not use the ODD website for that. So there's a lot of functionality here, and I'm going to just touch on some of it if I can here. This is the main screen, and as you can see, right off the bat, Kathy pointed out the new service called CIE. We have that already released in our software, so you can document the new NMT service and create the billing accordingly. So we do keep up with the latest rules and regulations. On the left-hand side are all the features in the software. I will note that if I'm a DSP or some other classification or role, I might see a different screen because you can control what you see and what you can do based upon who the user is. It's broken into people, time and attendance, documentation, and billing. Pretty simple. If I want to see information about my clients, I go to the client screen. I'm going to go over and see, I want to see Bo's information, maybe an address, or maybe his Medicaid number. Here's Bo's information. I can also see all of Bo's incidents here on this screen. I can even check out Bo's medical forms because you have a medical form builder in here and you can build your own forms. I want to see all of Bo's medications here. Here they are. So this is a pretty complete screen of everything about Bo. All right. You'll notice I can't edit this because I'm not allowed, but if I'm a manager, I have an edit button. Now I can come in here and change information. Okay. And this is where I would put in the funding sources and the waiver and the acuity and whatnot. Okay. So that's a little bit about clients. Staff, again, very simple information about my staff. And by the way, if you are using another system or have a paper-based system that you're using, if you can get this information into a spreadsheet, we can help you get it loaded into our system without having to do it manually. You can also keep track of your staff certifications. So for example, this drop-down menu can be configured by you. So you can have anything you want here. And if you want to keep track of somebody's CPR training, you can put their dates. You can even upload a certificate and get reminders of when these things are due. So it'll help you keep track. A lot of people use spreadsheets for this. All right. Now, what if I want to do my daily documentation? How do I do that? So we go down to the daily doc screen. Now, the system is all web-based. All you need is a browser to run it. You don't need to install an app. And if you happen to be using this on a smartphone or a tablet, then it's going to work just fine, even on a smartphone or a tablet. I'm pretending that it's, you know, a tablet size. I shrink it down. It adjusts based upon the size of the device that you're using. We have a lot of providers using this on smartphones. Okay. So now I want to document about outcomes for Bo. You'll notice I have 0% here, which tells me that nothing's been done today yet. So I'm going to click on Bo and look what happens. What do I get? I get the ISP. Why is that? Well, because there's a new span that started yesterday. And because there's a new span, guess what? I have to read this plan before I'm allowed to provide services. So here's the plan, and here is a place to sign it that I read it. So when I click that button, I now have access to the outcomes, and that was saved so that now I can run reports when I get audited to show that I'm compliant. Okay. How do I document? Well, there's two buttons that you have to teach your staff, green and red. If I click the green button, that means we successfully achieved that experience today. And this drop-down menu can be set up by you and have anything you want here. And I'm going to choose independent. We're going to put a note in, and that's all you have to teach your staff right there to be compliant. If it wasn't successful, I click the red button and choose Y and save. Okay. Now, how does this data get here on the screen? Well, if you'll remember, when we were over on the county board side, we were able to import those from the county board system. So I'm going to pretend to be you logging into the county board system, and I'm going to go in here and look at my plan. And here's my plan, right? I'm logged into the portal. And if you haven't done this yet, this is what it looks like. I'm not sure. I don't think you guys have referrals and incidents turned on. So you would probably see referrals and local funding when you log into the portal. Okay. Now, if I want to check out my outcomes, I can click and open up that section and see my outcomes. If I want to download my plan to myself, I can click download. And that'll allow me to get the PDF from the portal. If you have Britco Pro, you will be also able to do this, transfer outcomes. Okay, and if you click that button, then this information automatically comes over and populates here on this screen. So you don't have to copy and paste it or type it in. All right. More on documentation very quickly. These are supports. These are things you can add yourself. I'm not going to get into a lot of detail, but you can add anything you want here. And you can create little custom forms to document all these different things. Sleep tracking, meals, blood pressure, behaviors. Here's your MARS, where you can document and administer MARS. And here's progress notes. So this is a comprehensive documentation system that will get you out of paper. Okay. You want to write an incident? Come down to incident reporting. You can create an incident. Your staff can start writing the incident, and then it gets handed off to a manager. The manager will then finish the incident report and send it off to the county. It's all compliant with what the county is using. And when you need to, you can run reports. You can do your log reviews here as well. So this is a compliant, full-blown incident reporting system for you. Okay. You want to train your staff? Here you go. This is a full-blown training system, including the ability to add your own training. These would be things that are assigned to me to take as a staff person. These are things that I've completed with certificates. And this is a library of content that you have that you can assign to your staff. We have all compliant, like the annual training. This is the outline that the training consists of, which you'll need when you get audited. You can open up and look at what a training looks like. These are the 5 modules that make up the training. And you would be able to pick up where you left off. And you can kind of get a feel for what it looks like.
Community integration.
There's quiz questions baked in. You have to pass the quizzes to get your certificate. Okay. And as I said, if you want to add your own training, we put in a course called New DSP, just to give you an example. What if you wanted to have your new DSPs automatically assigned to have to take this? One of those things I want them to do is read our policy manual. So I go like that, and there's our policy manual, and I acknowledge I read it. Oh, we also want them to have to read this health and welfare alert. And we put these in for you, by the way. So now I can just pop the health and welfare alert and acknowledge I read it. What if I want them to view a video of something? I can pop a video up and have them acknowledge they watched it. So this gives you the ability to create your own content. Okay. And you can also create your own forms, as I said earlier, and I'm not going to spend any time on this at all, but know that you can create any form you want. Medical forms, you can create HR forms, you can have signatures added remotely. A lot of you are probably signing your ISPs this way. Well, you can do it yourself and create your own forms and send them out to guardians and staff to sign them too as well, using the forms module. Okay. If you're an ICF, you can also go to the OISP module and create your own ISPs, just like the SSAs are doing from the Medicaid side. All right. It will sync up with Salesforce. Okay. You're probably wondering about clocking in and out. That's here under attendance screen. Now, when I go to the attendance screen, I'm going to see a whole lot of tabs here because these are all the different services. Now, you may not have a lot of these tabs. If you don't do group employment, you won't see that. You may see shared living, HPC, maybe your adult day. You name these any way you choose, but each one represents a service. So if I want to document on my adult day program, I'm going to go here, and it's today, Wednesday. I got my programs are listed here. I got my A1 day program. I got my demo day program. What are these boxes? These are my schedules. Okay. So I have a schedule today for my day program that has 5 clients in it and 1 staff. It goes from 9 to 2. Somebody has to document that today. Okay. So I'm just going to come up here and open the box up and say, yep, everybody showed up, and click save. Now it's green. Okay. What if somebody didn't show up? I click that. What if somebody came in late? Well, I put 11 a.m. there. So it's very simple to document your attendance. Now it's green. What does that mean? That means it's compliant. You know what else it means? It means that if I go to my billing screen, all my billing data is created automatically. So all the rates, codes for every service are baked into the software. And if there's a new rate, new change, we'll keep it current. All right. What about HPC? I've got homes instead of ADS programs. I've got HPC, and what do I have? I got a bunch of homes here. I got boxes that work just like ADS. These are schedules. You might be wondering, gee, how hard is it to create a schedule? Well, if I click this button, I'll show you. I'm going to create a schedule for Boo Boo's home. We have a schedule from 8 a.m. and a shift that goes to 2 p.m. And our client is going to be Boo Boo, and our staff's going to be Adrian. And that's it. Okay. Boo Boo's already in, so they won't let me do Boo Boo because he's already in another schedule. What about Kurt? Now we have a schedule. We want to copy that schedule to be 5 days a week. So in a matter of 30 seconds, I just did my schedule. So now your staff have to clock in, right? So they want to come to the home, they pull out their smartphone, and this is what happens. Now, in order to show you this, I want to pretend to be a DSP, not a manager. Why? Because managers can change the times. DSPs cannot. It's like a time clock. Okay. So I'm going to be Ava. You'll notice Ava doesn't have any tabs except HPC. You'll notice Ava only has 2 homes. So I'm going to clock into Deontay's home. And notice what it looks like if I'm on my phone. That's what it would look like. Okay. I'm going to click the clock in button, and that's all I have to do to clock in. Guess what else just happened? I just sent my information off to SanData to be EVV compliant. We are a certified EVV provider. For agencies, you probably are aware that agencies can choose the provider for their EVV, whereas independent providers are forced to use SanData. We are undertaking an initiative right now. I'm going to ask independents after we're done talking here in a minute to participate if you're interested in a free choice option. We're trying to get Medicaid to change the rule so that you have a choice in using anybody you want for your EVV rather than being forced to use SanData. If you agree with that, hang tight. Now I'm going to tell you how you can help us. So now I've clocked in. I'm going to clock out and hit that button, and we're done. So that's really all there is to clock in and clocking out. It's hitting the green button and then hitting a red button. Okay. And once again, I would get my billing data created by doing that. So I have my Medicaid billing supported. I have my documentation compliant now, and I have my EVV compliance by using this scheduler. Okay. And then there's also transportation, and I won't spend much time on this because it's exactly what you just saw for the other services. The difference slightly is if I want to document my routes, I pop up my schedule, and what do I get? I get a place to put my mileage, which is now crucial because of the new rules. You have to have all this documented. I'm going to document who showed up on the route. I'm also going to put in my inspection sheet and inspect everything. Okay, and mark that I inspected it. And if something didn't inspect correctly, I click the red X. A notification just got emailed to somebody to tell them they need to fix the windshield wiper on that vehicle. And then when I click save, I'm done, and I get my billing for that. Okay. And the last thing I'm going to show you is reports, because you definitely need to know about reports. You can see there's a lot of tabs here, and they correspond to the various modules here. So if I want to see a daily doc report, somebody's doing an audit, and they're saying, I want to see your documentation for Bo for the month of January. So I'm going to go to this report, and I'm going to go to Bo. I'm going to choose January and click go. And all you'll have to do then, here's your report. Okay, you can see this is like a doc sheet, and it shows the initials of the person who documented it, and it shows you these little words down here that you put in yourself. If you want to download that and email it, if you want to print it out, you can do it in either or. I think SSAs would love if you could print out one of these reports right here for them when they go on a home visit. We're going to do what's called a log report, and it looks like that with notes and outcomes, which you can then make a PDF and email it to somebody if you want. Okay. So that's my 5,000-foot view, and I felt like I flew through it 100 mile an hour, but I wanted to keep it brief for you guys. I respect your time, and I know you're busy. So if anybody wants to dive deeper, happy to do that. For the independent providers, I promised I wanted to talk to you very briefly. If Kathy's kind enough to send you this link, it's a petition, and it's if you're kind enough to, basically what's happening is we're trying to get Medicaid to change the rule to give you a choice. We're not saying you have to use BRCO or anything like that. Just we feel you should have a choice. There's been a lot of issues with SAN data, and it's not just that. It's not a matter of whether there's issues. It's we feel should have a choice to choose who you use as a provider for your EVV. And if you feel that way, please join us and sign up on the petition. And we'd love to have your support as we move forward here. Kathy, do you have any questions or any comments?
I would love to see if any of the providers here on the call have any questions for you while you're here, while we have you.
Absolutely. They can.
I did have a question. So with the system of BritCode that you just showed us, is that just the free version, or is that the pro version?
This is the pro version.
Okay.
This is the portal, which we could call that the free side, because this is what you'll be logging into for the county board to get access to the plan. So this is if you want to refer to it as the free side, this is the BritCode Pro system that you would license.
Okay.
So do I understand, it's Helen, do I understand that the pro version, the agencies have to contract with BritCode to get that? Is that
correct?
Okay, got you.
Correct.
Scott, we have a question in the chat of, I believe it's an independent provider asking how they would access BritCode Pro.
How to access, to get access to BritCode Pro, you'd have to contact us, and we set up a license for you to get it installed, and then we would train you on how to use it. So there's a process that we'd be happy to talk to you. Just reach out to us. I can put my email. It's Scott@BritCode Software, and that if you want to shoot that out to him, Kathy, it's Scott@BritCodeSoftware.com if you want to follow up on anything.
Do you have general information about how charge for the license? Is per customer, per staff? Or...
Yeah, the license is a monthly subscription, and it's based on two things: the number of individuals you serve and the number of users that you potentially would have using the system. And then it is modular. So if you so choose to just get the basic system, which is basically your documentation, that's what we call our basic module. Then if you want to add time and attendance, you can add that. If you want to add billing, you can add that. If you want to add forms, you can add that. So it's broken down into pieces if you want to buy it in modules.
Can we please know the prices of the various models so that we convey it to our superior for discussions and onboarding?
It's a little hard to hear you. I'm so sorry, Jonathan.
Come again?
It is a little hard to hear you.
I was asking if we could know the prices for the various modules so that during a staff meeting, we could discuss it and do the onboarding.
Scott, are you able to hear him? He was asking about pricing so they could begin discussions about it within their agency, just some overall.
Yeah, you'll have to contact me directly for that, so we can discuss your particular agency and your configurations. So yeah, feel free to reach out to me anytime.
Okay, any phone number?
Yeah, let me let me put that in the.
I have your email in the chat, but yeah, your phone number. And we'll also email that out to you all today too.
All right, thank you.
There's the phone number.
Scott, if you could also drop that change.org link in the chat for me.
I'm sorry, which?
That petition, the independent provider petition.
Sure. Thank you. Yes. Yeah,
I don't think I
absolutely.
can quite copy it.
Yeah, I'll send it over. That's not the link. Let me.
Yeah, you could
bring it up
even
here.
drop it in the chat for us. That'd be great.
Yeah, I'll do that for sure. Any other questions? I'll send this link out in the chat, or here it is.
All right, no other questions for Britco while they're here? All right, well, thank you so much, Scott, for joining us. We really appreciate it. It was great to see this overview and learn a little more about the difference between the different, I guess, platforms you will call them, the county board versus the pro and all that. So thank you for explaining that a little bit for us.
I hope it was worthwhile. Thanks a lot, Kathy.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we will send all this information out. I wanted to go back real quickly to something that was in the chat that I wanted to clarify just to make sure there's no confusion because we did throw a lot of information out to you today. So that new non-medical transportation, NMT, for competitive integrative employment. So that is like an additional rate that's being added. So the regular non-medical transportation that has been around, that service support is still the same. Everything about that is staying the same. The rate still Independence 28.57 a trip. All of that remains exactly the same. Your billing code, your documentation, all of that is separate from the new rate that has been added just for individuals that have a competitive employment. They are working out in the community, and there's different criteria for it to be considered competitive integrated employment. You can check with the SSAs about that. If you're unsure if the individual you're working with would qualify for that, we would encourage you to reach out to them to see about that. All right. I think everything else we got addressed in the chat. We appreciate everyone attending today. We love all of the questions and activity we get. This is a great time for us to meet and answer those questions for you. So we appreciate it. We appreciate the participation. I will show quickly our dates for our next provider meeting we have coming up will be in March. We typically meet every other month. So let me just pop those up real quick because I didn't do that before. So our next meeting will be on March 19th on Zoom all year from 10 to 11. So we'd love to see you back then for more updates. We will, Amy and I will stay on for just a few minutes. If any of you want to reach out or stay on to ask questions and things, otherwise just watch your email box for the minutes and recording information to be posted. I think someone did ask about the recording that will be emailed out and it's also posted on our website. We have a provider tab on our website. Feel free to go there. It's butlerdd.org and get that there.